Hello, welcome everyone to tonight's broadcast of the Unlimited Show, where we interview people who have expanded their consciousness and really become unlimited. I'm really excited tonight to introduce you to Keleena Mar. I'm sorry, we just went over your name and here I like butchered it on the intro. Keleena Malnar, who is going to be bringing us quite a special evening tonight. She is what I call a future human. And we're going to talk a lot about authenticity because Keleena has actually stepped into the future human template, I believe. What does that mean? It means that she's already tapping in to where we're going in the future. And her courage is allowing her to stand up and help people be in authenticity and start to realize that our abilities and our worldview is really going to need to be modified. So this idea that we didn't really, our hypothesis about reality is not exactly correct. And now as we feel through that and feel through what that means and the pieces that get to be rearranged, Keleena is like the embodiment of that freedom, of that curiosity, of that beauty and grace and that divinity, because she's saying, these are my experiences and I'm going to listen to it. Even if I didn't see it in a book, even if someone didn't tell me that, even if I don't see any examples of anyone else, this is my truth. And that's what we're doing in LightNet and Starseed Academy in the next 6 months. All of our programs are designed for you guys to start to know who you are uniquely, because we're all different, and what makes you feel most at home and comfortable. What do you wish you could say? What do you wish you could get paid to do? What do you wish you could get up in the morning to do? What is it? And I want to start Keleena's session. She has a lot of different modalities she uses. Light language, quantum energy healing, she is doing all sorts of things that we're going to get into. But I want you to experience, as we start this sacred evening together, this mind expanding moment, to hear her without your mind. Just let your body listen to Keleena. Thank you, Keleena. We're excited.
Thank you for having me here. This is new for me. I'm ready.
Okay.
Do you want me to start with having everybody aligned to their hearts, and then we'll go into, I will sing and bring everybody in alignment?
Yeah, it's really interesting because Kaleena's programs are about learning the power of your heart. So when your heart is free and like, this is what my heart really wants, that's where you step into your power. So this is a great place to start because we're not used to this feeling. We're not used to this concept. So yeah, walk us through it.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody, and the sun's going down over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have everybody, and just want you to repeat after me. I'm going to align you and drop you into your heart. So you just need to focus on the high heart, the sacred heart, not the anahata, but the high heart, right behind the thymus. Take a deep breath. And I want you to say out loud, I now align and drop into my divine sacred heart. And for those that feel energy, you're going to feel yourself aligning, going out of the false identity ego, okay, and back into the divine mind and dropping into that sacred heart. So masculine, feminine work that creates that balance. This heart, the sacred heart, behind the thymus here, is where all our information is connected to source. It's where we're supposed to listen to our excitement, our joy, our bliss, and this is how we are supposed to live. So I'm going to actually go ahead and allow these tones to come in that are going to help align and line your heart rate now and expand it. Okay, and it's going to, for some of you, I'm feeling a lot of solar plexus on a lot of you right now, and throat. Just so you know, as a multidimensional quantum energy healer, I feel everything that's going on with everybody else. That's how I do sessions. I feel all your stuff on me, on my physical body. So my higher self knows exactly what to bring through to help some of you release some of the things you're holding on to, so that we can align you in that heart, expand you, and you're going to feel a little freer. So take a deep breath into the belly like a baby and release through the mouth. I call it the healing breath. Holy healing breath. And 2 more times. And relaxing. You feel the relaxation of the shoulders. Go 1 more time. Relax, fully relaxed, and just listen. Listen with the eyes and ears of the heart. Mariana Makara Shnashunta Maya I. Mahanyasu Nyakara Tauyu Sha Nyahana Open, release. Expand. Nahena sheter erokros nosont urushnama ant. Merechant in a kiraster. For it kirastos. Open. Marakana suhanya tanya. And breathe. So you may feel energy running through you right now. You may feel expansion going on. You may feel vibrations in the physical body. Those of you that see color, you'll see different color lighting up. And there's going to be all kinds of stuff going, because the activations go through the DNA at the cellular level to activate you, to shift you. And what it does is, part of my work is to shift and activate change. And so I do that within humans, within humanity, with spirit working through me. And so you will feel it in the physical. For those of you that feel energy, and you feel it in the nervous system and the energy bodies, also all the way out to the quantum body. Your expansion of your light is happening right now. And yeah, so I'm feeling some of you are having there's pulling on your back, because your wings are trying to open. I'm just going to do something really quick and open them for whoever that is. There it goes. So whoever that was, you're going to feel your wings. I feel your wings moving now. There we go. There's like a freedom back there. So somebody had that. Might have been more than one of you, but I feel the movement now. Okay, so now everyone is, you should be feeling more aligned. And yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah. How are you, Zenka?
Amazing, good. And I know what you mean, how you feel in people. There's many healers that have that ability. And I want to address two of the things that you noticed first. You said, I'm feeling people are blocked in the throat. And was the second one the high heart too?
Solar plexus.
Solar plexus. So talk about the why those tend to be blocked and what it feels like when they're not blocked.
So when the solar plexus is blocked, now that's our divine will. And so if we're not living from our divine will, if our ego is trying to control something within ourselves or control what we're hearing or what we're going to receive from someone, or if somebody's trying to control us, that solar plexus can be blocked and it feels like a tension in the stomach. Some people you can have stomach aches, you can have digestion problems, all that. But what I feel on me is like it's starting to squeeze really tight there, like, and almost like you need to belch. And the solar plexus starts to, not the throat chakra starts to squeeze as well. And it could feel like you're choking. You could start getting sore throat. And so I was starting to feel like I was choking, like I was squeezing, I was choking. So for people that have that blocked, a lot of times, and I don't know very many people that haven't had it blocked, but we've gone through lifetimes of not being able to speak our truth. And this lifetime is the lifetime when we are really being pushed into this alignment to speak our truth and allow ourselves to live in alignment with our divine will. In the creation of our blueprint that we had before we came here. So if we're not living that, if we're trying to control something again, like if someone's trying to control us or someone's trying to control our voice, not allow us to use what I call our sacred voice, our true voice, we have blockages on those areas.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So there is a part of us doesn't even know what our purpose or our divine purpose or our divine calling is. Um, how did that happen for you? Like, and what was it like as you went forth? I mean, I can only imagine being such an advanced human where people are like, oh, she's, healing with her voice and all these things, like how that's hard to hold when people are just have blank faces, they don't even understand what you're doing. But what was it like for you? Like, how did this all happen? What was this journey for you to be such a strong advocate of us following that divine direction? What is that?
So I've been awake since a child. I was born a healer, and I went through. Actually spoke the languages of light as a child, but like to my dog, to the pets, to my Barbie dolls, to my baby doll, and then shut it down when certain family members said that you're dumb or whatever. So I stopped it and kept things to myself. I also have had the abilities, all the clairs and my guides speaking to me my entire life and saving my life more than once. And so I always was able to hear them. And when they would say not to do something or to stop or whatever, and then boom, knowing in that instant I could have been killed, that gave me the trust in listening to the inner voice, listening to my guides. So also you can have the listening to your inner voice, which is your higher self. And we have to tune into that frequency and into that knowingness that your higher self's always going to align you and never take you down the wrong path. So I've always had these abilities. However, going through life, I had my times when I got angry at spirit. I got angry at my guides because they never gave me the answers ever. I never was given the answers. I had to go through my process just like everyone else is going through theirs now. And they would give me what I called pieces to the puzzle. And then I would have to follow those pieces of the puzzle and allow myself to figure things out and not by the ego mind, but by allowing information to come in, allowing myself to follow the breadcrumbs that they were giving me, the synchronicities. And I would open more and more and more. And by 14 years old, I was actually already integrating the aspect of myself from Venus. I have a lot of Venusian energy. But a lot of different, I have a lot of different galactic aspects, different planets. So, a lot of things happened, but then January 1st, 2015 is when I had my walk-in experience, and things just changed overnight. And my abilities came on even stronger and more of them online. And the old me was gone, basically. I always knew, though, that I was different and that I wasn't supposed to literally do 3D work, if that makes sense. Everybody calls 3D work. I couldn't handle that kind of work, those jobs. I would get anxiety and I couldn't understand it because that's the Piscean energy in me. It was really hard because I always wanted to be out there healing. I wanted to be out there doing that stuff, but it wasn't acceptable back then. I lived in Ohio. That it wasn't available. Help wasn't available. There was no internet. For me, I always knew deep down that my work was something other than what a regular third dimensional human being does, if that makes sense. And then it all opened up even more after the walk-in experience.
Yeah, so wow, that's so interesting that you had these, and I know for me, I've experienced like, hey, wait a minute, there's no way that could have happened. And then it goes again. And then you start to say, okay, wait a minute, that was them saving my life. That was the synchronicity, that was the message. So you've had that be building over your whole life, where a lot of us are just starting to go, wait a minute. And then the second time it happens, like, hey, wait a minute. So it's really interesting. Before we talk about your walk-in experience and what that even is, how do you know the difference between your higher self and your guides, like in terms of when it's communicated? What does it feel different? How is that?
So my higher self, it's interesting because it's an energetic alignment where, how do I explain this? It's that knowingness that, like, I know everything is, I just know. I don't have to ask questions to anyone. It's just that knowingness is aligned and things just happen and start to do. So I start to do things, and my higher self actually sounds kind of like me, like my voice. But my guides sound different. They have different voices. They don't have the same voice. I have angels that I work with. I have masters that I work with. I have personal guides. I have a family member that is past that I never met that I work with. They all have their own frequency and their own voice. So that's how I can tell the difference.
Interesting. So tell us about this walk-in experience. We hear about it, we see it on YouTube, but what was it like to experience it, and also explain it to people who don't know what it is? And even I could use more information about that.
I literally just started talking about this maybe a month ago because I've kept it to myself. Only a very small handful of people have known about it because people just don't believe you. So I went to bed December 31st, 2014, and I had children. I had a 14-year-old. She was going to be 15, and a 13-year-old. I went to bed and I woke up the next day a totally different person. I couldn't even stay up that night all the way until midnight to celebrate New Year's Eve. I was exhausted the whole day. I felt like I was dying. Okay. I felt like I was shutting down, like I was dying all day. And I was the mom that was like, okay. Now, a lot of this stuff I don't remember because I have to get triggered into cell memories to remember it, to actually tell you. And that's how I have my information now. So I woke up that next morning and I woke up in bed and I was getting all of this downloads and information and memory recalls of birthing my children. I was seeing it, I was feeling it, I was holding them. And I was feeling their vibration and frequency, and I was like, zzz, all this stuff happening in my body. And then I rolled over and I looked in the bed, and there was the man that was my husband back then. And I looked at him and I was like, who's that? I didn't even know who he was. And all I heard loud and clear was husband. And that was one of my guides saying husband. And this fear came over me because I was like, where am I? Who am I? I started going through this like nothing was familiar. Um, and I took my time. I was breathing. I remember getting out of bed and trying to adjust to where I was because it's a new space, it's a new reality. And so this expanded version of myself came in, and which some people might call it like a new character or a new personality or something. But this expanded version of me, from what I was shown, is the version of me that has lived all these different lives, that has been a healer, done all these different things in all these lives and mastered them and brought this mastery in now. Because they showed me my job is to awaken people, to heal them, help them heal themselves, okay? To activate them for their healing, and to activate them to find their authentic self, and to take them through the life death transformation process. And this is what I've done in these other lives as well, and mastered things. However, there's one thing I hadn't mastered yet, and it was being a woman doing this. Every life that I was doing this, as a woman, I was taken. So, and working with the Christ energy, the feminine, divine feminine Christ energy, who was Mary Magdalene. She was the divine feminine Christ. I was shown that clearly. That's part of an aspect of myself. And they said, in this lifetime, you will achieve it. And so all this stuff's coming in as other things are going out, if that makes sense. So I had no memories. I could not remember how to drive a car. I burnt water. I used to do all organic, like 5-star restaurant cooking for my family, everything from scratch. I have all these memories had to come in. I didn't know how to turn on the stove, work anything, and it was horrible. Uh, I was just like lost. And so this happens, and it literally is like you're blank with so many things. Even my ex-husband would say something to me, and I would just stand there looking at him with my eyes really wide and my mouth open going, because I had no response, because there was nothing to respond to, because I had nothing still in the memories. There was like no memory recall. So if he would get mad or angry, then it would trigger some kind of cell memory where something would come up and I would be able to respond. And it just didn't work because my frequency had gone from, here to here. And being with somebody whose vibration and frequency is here, and you're here now, it's impossible to come together in a relationship. So my children matched my frequency because they're both crystal children. And I'm also crystalline. So it's just a total change of your lifestyle. But again, all the abilities came online. I'm here as a teacher. I'm here as a way shower. I'm here as a healer. I mean, all these things that I had mastered in other lives. And we're all masters at things, all of us. So don't believe that you're not. But we're accumulating, I was told I accumulated all these things to bring it into this lifetime now to help people through what's been going on the earth. And I had a vision back in 2004 with a 20-year countdown. That 20-year countdown ends the day after Christmas this year. So, so much has happened over my life, but that's the walk-in. You just don't have these memories of the version of the person that you were before it.
Wow. So what do you think actually happened? So, and why does that happen? So it's that another soul wants to drive your vehicle and pursue a certain mission.
No, it's not another soul. It's me. It's the higher version of myself. So it's not like a different soul coming in. It's like the higher aspects of the self that have mastered things, and this is something that I had planned. What they showed me before I came, it was an agreement, and everything was supposed to happen at a certain time. And the interesting thing is, for years, through automatic writing, for many, many years, my guides kept telling me, get ready, get ready. And I'm like, what am I getting ready for? But they never said, get ready for your soul exchange, get ready for your walk in. That was never something they said. So I was always preparing everything else. I'm like, I'm preparing the house, I'm preparing this. I kept my children awake because they're both healers as well. But I'm like, what am I getting ready for? I just never understood. Well, that's what I was getting ready for.
That's so funny because a couple years ago, I that was part of my intentions that wrote down all the time. It's like, I want my higher self to be in my body at all times because I would literally feel it come in when I was like in a meeting, like in an important meeting. Like I would literally, my body would be vibrating. I mean, my body would feel super different. It's like when I'm in a channel, I feel my body feels very different. It's not it's unmistakable. And I was like, oh, you should just do that all the time, like I guess, but I guess my body's not ready because that hasn't happened. But I want to go back to this whole idea of what you are tasked with: waking people up, teaching them how to heal themselves, being, teaching them how to be authentic. And talk about those things. Like, what does waking up mean to you? What does authentic mean to you?
So waking up means coming into your own truth. That's what it means to me. And waking up to your God self, who you truly are. We're all source. We're all God on this planet. And there's a lot of people that will disagree with it, but that is who we are. Our God self is in our body. It's it's connected in that sacred heart. And you could say your goddess self, if but we have got to align into our hearts, and that's where our authenticity is. That's where we find all our information. That's where our knowing is. That's where all of that divine wisdom and the pineal and the heart, they are all connected, and it connects up to the source. But we are the source in the body, so being able to activate that through the accumulation of events in our lives, okay, for awakening, are the triggers that happen. So people get triggered, like what's going on since 2020 for people. That's their big triggers for a lot of people that have just woken up at these times. The whole, I'm not even going to say the word because I don't want to put the energy there, but that was a massive trigger that happened to wake people up to the truth of how you've been veiled, shut down, blinded. I don't want to go into like all the nitty gritty stuff, but how we need to come back into our heart space, and know who we are as love, know who we are as peace, as kindness, and that this is our center point. This is our knowingness. This is our God self, where we're supposed to make our decisions from. This is where we're supposed to speak from. This is where we're supposed to see from. And when we do that, when we align here, we really know the truth. We know the truth of who we are, and our awakening to who we are and to the truth of everything that's going on around the world, and to the truth of the abilities and the unlimitedness that we have as humans is all here, and it expands. We are so powerful, so powerful, and people don't know this yet. We can do anything. I mean, I do a lot of alchemy work. I do a lot of energy things. I have so much stuff going on that's even expanding even more now. And we're going to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. We are avatars, and this is coming online.
That's really beautiful. I think that we just watched The Matrix the other day with my son and Adam, and it was like he, I was reminded that there's that moment that we cross over where we remember And he actually was activated by his heart, because the cinching of the fact that he let go this material reality, which is just an illusion, right? That it's of our own creation, because we're all creating and co-creating as our God self, whether we like the picture or like little play that's going on or not. And he falls in love with her, and she brings him back to life. So this idea that even nothing is unnegotiable, nothing is impossible, you know? And I think that's such a powerful thing for a world and a life like mine, where you're constantly in a cage of your society and your mind, and I can't do this, and I'm scared to do this, and like it's not going to work. You know, all that stuff is the cage.
Yeah.
And you're talking about taking us outside of that cage so we can catch our breath for a moment and then guide from that point of unique truth. Because what makes Jonathan's heart or Bethany's heart go, you know, skip a beat is totally different, you know? And that's part of your destiny. That's part of what's like walking you into where you're going. And I want to share the screen for a second here. So this is Keleena's website, and I've just put it out on the broadcast and in the chats and stuff. And she, you know, she just started doing these group healings like she just did for us, where here I'm thinking, oh wow, I also feel that, you know what I mean? It's like you're someone else's problem is also your problem, is also your solution, is also right, because we're these divine reflections of each other. But there's all these different ways that she works, whether it's, whoops, I'm in the wrong section here, whether it's in your private sessions or whether it's in your retreats like you're doing this weekend with Shakina. I am clicking on that. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I didn't click on that. But yeah, so these are these quantum leaps, light language, DNA activations, emergency phone sessions that will come in handy, I'm sure. Shamanic galactic womb cleansing and purification activation. Really, really cool. And all of these things, I want to look at also what we're doing in the next 6 months, like I talked about, is, you know, Raquel and Altair are leading this Awaken Your Dragon thing. And they said, we're going to start this first weekend with where you feel rage, where you feel angry. Because where you feel rage and angry, according to them, is where you're ready to be set free, right? There's that thing that's tying you, that's holding you, that you don't want to be bound by anymore. And you're talking about having already crossed that moment yourself, where you've let that, you let it all come through. And the second, you know, we're going to be doing this on June 15th. So in a month from now, exactly, it's a 2-weekend deep dive about your Black Moon Lilith, like where, you know, you're going to make peace with that part of you. And then we're going to do another weekend in September. Oh, we're following this by a 3-month program where you guys are going to be in community with 8 other people working through all of this power, this freedom that you're feeling. And we're calling it the Freedom Lab. And then we're going to go to the lunar nodes, where you look at your North Star, your North Node and your South Node, and you figure out your purpose. And we're going to have this loving community for 3 months supporting you go there. I also want to point out, while we're doing this little tour in the calendar, is that Keleena is coming back for a masterclass on the 28th, where she's going to be this is a hands-on way for members and anyone else who wants to join to step into your heart power and see what that is all about. So So I also want to say that we're launching the Purpose Lab in Ibiza next week. We're leaving on Tuesday, and we have studied how 100 people have stepped into their purpose and passion. Shamini Jane, Richard Rudd, we interviewed, Emmanuel, Bruce Lipton, all these people who have gone through that moment of worlds colliding where they were on one path going, I'm not feeling quite right, to that moment that landed for you in that moment where you said, okay, I'm going to leap forward. And I'm getting chills again because this is what we want for all of you listening. This is what we're doing as a collective right now, is we're starting to, I call it, reassess consensus reality. And that is also reassessing who you thought you needed to be, were supposed to be, all that stuff adds and weighs you down, because you need to be saying what you need to be saying, what you want to be saying, and what you want to be doing. And in the Purpose Lab, we're going to remove this idea that you can't make a living doing what you dream you want to do. That is a construct that's been put in your head that said, oh, you can't make a living being a sound healer or an artist or a whatever. And the situation is right now is Kalina's demonstrating very clearly that where we're going, we don't have names for it. Everything that I showed you, DNA, like that's not on a job, that's not on a job application. Like all these things are new. And so you guys are going to have the courage to be those new people like Kalina's done, and say, this is working for people and this is what I'm doing, right? So talk more about what you feel like is going on in the collective in this process of authenticity. I just want to share in the newsletter we just put out, I talked to my friend Tim Schwartz, who said, I am a different person than I ever was because I finally just said whatever I wanted to say, set my boundaries, and didn't care anymore. He's like, I just wanted to be famous. I wanted my projects to go. I wanted money, want. And because you want this stuff, you be someone that you're not, and then it gets super complicated. And he said that he stopped wanting anything. And all of a sudden, he met these 3 billionaires and he's getting everything he's ever wanted because he's living his truth without fear, without contortion, without codependency on, if I'm like this, I'm not going to receive this. If I'm like this, someone's going to think this. If I'm like, it gets complicated. Mm-hmm. So walk us through this authenticity piece and what it offers and how people can get into their heart and get over those first moments where it doesn't feel right to be in your heart.
Yeah, so there's a lot of inner work and self-healing that has to go on before, people can really, truly, fully engage there. And the inner work is very important. And that's like in the sessions, I go into people's subconscious and I bring up these things that they're holding the subconscious that's been holding them back, which is the programs. And not just from this lifetime, from other lifetimes, because it's in the DNA and it's in the cell memories. So that's the work that, more of the work. I don't do like just little things. I literally go expansively into somebody to bring this stuff forward. So to become your authentic self, you've got to heal so much of the programming, of the belief system, the patterns, the conditions and behaviors that you've been programmed to be, not just this lifetime, other lifetimes. It's really, really important to be able to open yourself up, to recognize it and to see it and accept it. Acceptance is so big with this, because if you don't accept that you're doing something from a behavior, a pattern, you're not going to get over that nudge, if that makes sense. You're not going to get over that obstacle. You're going to keep doing it. People, I call it looping. People keep going in a loop, going in a loop, going in a loop. To get into our to become and be our authentic being, our God self, is, it's such an achievement, because that's where, like your friend just, or Tim, you said Timothy was speaking his truth. He wasn't caring. We care, but we don't care what others think, if that makes sense. Because we're putting ourselves out there, because we're aligned with our truth, we're aligned with our heart, our sacred voice, the sacred mind, and everything that is about us that's in our expansive awareness, without the conditioning and programming. So when we get there, we're able to expand even further on the knowing that when you let go of needing money, when you let go of the want of money, when you just don't care about it, it just starts to flow. Everything starts to shift and change, because you're aligning to do exactly what you came here to do. And when you do what you came here to do in your alignment, you're always going to be taken care of with everything, everything. And that's what I've
Yes.
seen.
Yes. Keep going. But I just wanted to chime in that yes.
Mhm. Everything aligns. So the right people you're supposed to be with, like that, like for instance, the interviews you're going to have, um, the whatever's going to come to you, everything's going to be, because you're finally following your divine will. You're following your blueprint, and the blueprint starts to unlock. Kick, 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 all these codes start opening. Kick, 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 all these keys open on the everything that you already had. So if you have a blueprint, for instance, and it's like going, you're going to go this way, and you're going to go this way, and you're going this way and this way, but you've been going this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. You're being brought back into your path, and you're finally following it. And so that's why everything just starts unlocking, 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 expanding, expanding. You're expanding. Your connections are expanding. Your life is expanding. Your quantum field is expanding. Your cells are expanding. Your light body is online and expanding. Everything is expanding. And you're expanding the consciousness creator and the co-creativeness that you are with source, and the divine human that you are. Does that make sense how it's coming through? Because I'm just channeling all this.
Yeah. So what you're saying is the first step is healing your situation. And you guys, if you have something to heal, like she just said, it does not mean it's yours. It's yours because you've got it in your hands, but it might be something that you chose to finally heal from your lineage, your mom, your dad, whatever it is. You've picked one mountain. Believe me, you have picked one mountain. So don't run away from your mountain. And I love the advice that you just said. It's like, get clear about where your thoughts are, because we are on automatic. Your brain would be exhausted if we were in curiosity and awe all day long, but that's what you have to be in to get out of that patterning. We
Yeah, we need to change our
naturally
trajectory.
say, yeah, we just naturally say, I am X,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. And I know some people can argue that it was easier for me because I've always been awake and I had the walk in and everything, but this is what I chose in this life, to actually lead people. My job is to lead humanity back to their sacred hearts, to become their authentic self. And my guides told me that loud and clear. You're going to lead the people home, Keleena. You've done this in many lifetimes, and this time you'll achievement. And I'm like laughing at them, going, and where am I leading to? Where's home? And they're like, and I'm like, okay. So that's the key. The heart is the key. If you're not here, if you're in the what I call the false identity created ego, that's going to be really hard for you to get back in here. You've got to align with the true ego, that divine, sense of self, the divine mind, connecting with the divine heart, and that activates your sacred voice. And it's so powerful. It's so
It
powerful.
almost feels like more natural. Like your heart feels like more natural, whereas your mind feels like, oh, that you're not even sure. Is that society? Is that your mom? Is that it's like more complicated. Whereas your heart is just, that just feels good. That's where your joy is lying.
Yeah,
That's your, that's
that's where your answers are.
And that's where
That's where all your answers are. And that's why when I started in the beginning and aligned everyone into their heart, and I said, this is where we get all of our information. This is our knowing center. It's our connection to source. It's also connection to Divine Mother, um, Divine Father, Divine Mother.
Mhm.
Huh, 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 huh. Christ child. That's who we are. This is so important to be in that heart center, that heart coherence. It's a reality that humanity has not been connected with for lifetimes. And in order to achieve this, each individual will go through their process and their processing of the precise and correct communication that comes from the source, that comes from the higher self and connects with the sacred heart, activating the sacred voice, and tuning into the higher frequency and vibration of that and all in which we live and that and all in which we are from. All right, the beings, the ETs are coming in.
Cool. Well, let's do that right now. Let's go ahead and set the intention for whatever you want to do and whatever they want to do. But let's give a taste of this activating your listening space
Mhm.
to your true heart's desire.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to tell you, you can have anything that your heart's desire. When it's pure, that's why you came here. Like to love, to have your heart explode, right?
Exactly.
So let's do that. We're going to talk about Egypt afterwards, and we're going to open up to all the members and collaborators on the call to ask any questions that you have. So go ahead and be thinking of what's coming to mind.
I'm just going to go ahead and just give me a minute because there's a lot of beings in the room now. There's angelics, there's light beings, there's masters, there's archetypes. We got the elementals coming in, the fairies are coming in. Shiara. Okay, there's going to be some healing, and if you wish to receive this healing from Keleena, you just say, I receive this healing from Keleena. You don't have to. It's always what you wish. You're going to feel energy. Those that feel energy, you're going to feel stuff coming down. You're going to feel stuff coming up. You're going to feel things leaving. You're going to feel expansion. Just allow. Some of you might feel like pain. That is because you have a blockage there that the energies are trying to break through. Kaana. Release. Expand. Karasteri kiratashne maru urja la hochnana tush arastia min it und ur and urhach mer achund urskiras and ar ir ita necha out et eroskikit erstamma mar uchoya nya sanam tiaratam nyaku nya hanya Fairies. Sam yarashtera nemira ugh. Here sete or. Oi. Sh. It is in divine grace that we are able to come to you now in a co-creation of events that allows us to speak in love, in compassion, in heart connection. We are, I am, of all that is as you are. We are of the same divine creator source that you are of. We are of God and only God, as you are. It is here now, in this time, that all wonder what is happening upon this planet. It is a great transition. It is a spiraling of events to not only awaken humanity to their divine selves, but to show you to step into your courage of your heart, to align with the ability of knowingness, to proceed in love, not hate, to proceed without fear, and to fulfill that which is of your service. What is your service? It is to be her. It is to be love. It is to be joy. It is to be peace. It is to be harmony. And it's to relax in the knowingness that the consciousness of this planet is changing because of you. You are the creator of the reality you see outside yourself. How, you ask? Through the memories encoded in your DNA and your cells. You have created your reality. And you also have created how you will shift your reality, which shifts the benevolence of humanity and the consciousness of Earth. Know thyself, be true. Feel thyself and understand. Life is love. It is a gift. Do not waste it. You're not here as long as you think you are. Marachuna mereshitas, nam ira orojo, nam yana aki. Your heart is the key.
Wow, thank you so much, Keleena, and all the beings that came through. What a powerful message, powerful activation.
I'm super high, super thirsty, super high.
Bethany was on, chat earlier going, wow, I feel like so thirsty. I'm feeling that too. Wow.
I get dehydrated when I channel, but all of that is channeling. So the codes coming in, it's all channeling. They're speaking through. I just want everyone also to know in my healing sessions that I do, like the group ones, they're really intense. This is just like a little part of it, but I work with the Holy Spirit. Like the Holy Spirit expands through me, and it's so powerful. So I'm super high right now, but everything that comes through, I only allow that of the highest frequency and vibration to work through me, as me, of me, within me, outside of me, and below me. That is of the highest benevolence of my divine creator source, the highest love and the highest light. So I don't let anything else speak through me, work through me. And I created sacred space before we started, just so everybody knows.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, you can tell, you can feel it. You are like pure grace. You're like a pure note on like a note that's just is clear and very, very beautiful. Um, so you mentioned that some ETs were there, and you were also, before we started the broadcast, we were talking about spending a month in Egypt. So let's go into that. And then the members who are on the call, you can go ahead and raise your hand using the reactions button if you have a question for her, and we'll get to those. So
Yeah. So I was in Egypt in the fall, and I took 26 people through Egypt. I remember a lot of my Egyptian lives, but I also remember working through the temples in the Nile, and the waters of the Nile are very healing. That's in my knowing. But the 30 days in Egypt, I'm also a grid worker since a child. So I go to different places where I remove negative energies, harmful things, and off the planet. I find these things that are like, they look like computer chips on the earth, and I remove them because they've been placed there by opposing energies. I remove them. I give them back to the legions of light that take them directly back to source, dissolved in love. And I fill that space. I amplify it with love, and I fill it with gold and golden light and white diamond crystalline light and silver and platinum. I fill it back up, and then the earth shifts. So that's some of the things I do. And then I activate the sacred sites. I can also make it rain. I can stop the wind. I can do all kinds of things that first time I ever did those things, I was like, oh. But when I've had witnesses around, when I do it, they're just like, what did you just do? Was that magic? It puts some people into fear, but it is what we all can do. We are avatars. So the 30 days in Egypt was powerful, helping these people go through life, death, transformation, healing processes. I give them activations and do healing days while we're going through Egypt. But when I was in the with Sekhmet, I have all these pictures of me shifting into bird tribe, shifting into a cat. One of the things I am, Zenka, is I shift into these different beings that I've been, aspects that I've been. I have photos of them taken by people. I become a lion. My face turns into a lion, like a lion. I have a picture of myself where I'm all green. I turn into Gaia. I have pictures of myself where I turn into Mother Mary's channeling through me. My eyes turn ice blue. My eyes are brown. And the Holy Spirit works through me. I become all white. So I'm working on a book with all these photos to explain that this is who we are. We're not just this. So while they're in Egypt, a lot of that information came back through of the quantumness of our being and the multidimensionality and the aspects of who we all are, and that how we are bringing them into and accumulating them in to become the best version of ourselves. So Egypt, I touch things and I sing things a lot different than what they're saying, especially inside the pyramid. I was like, no.
yeah, interesting. One of the people we interviewed for the Purpose Lab was a film director called Melissa Tittle. She did Ancient Aliens, and she just finished the film on Joe Dispenza. And she said that she was in Egypt walking around, and all of a sudden she got this like just nudge that she should go and put her head onto this rock. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, oh, I just like was, like, yeah, I just was moved to do that. And then, she stopped doing it. And the guard was like, do you have any idea what that says, where you put your head? And she goes, no. And he was like, oh, it says put your head here to receive. I don't know what it was. I don't remember what she said, but like the full goddess or something like that. And he's like, where have you been? And she was, I was just 10 minutes. And he's like, no, you've been gone. We've been looking for you for 2 hours. She's like, oh my God. And I think she's going to work on a film about it. But this is the kind of stuff, you guys, that those who are ready are going to start, like, we're already, physics is broken car on the road. Like, we're already like, we didn't get this quite right. We're already starting to understand that our assumptions about where we are in our reality, what we're capable of. I mean, I'm like really in with all these interviews we've been doing in it because it's been so fascinating. We've been really working so hard, but even Humanity's team, Steve Farrell, we interviewed him, who's launching, by the way, on the 27th. We're going to be sending out an email to all our members, and all you guys, look for Awaken Your Purpose podcast, because we're going to go live. We're also going to be on our YouTube with all these videos on the 27th. So it's a week after that. But what he said to me, he's like, I got this premonition that my sister was gonna die. And it was so strong, this dream that I had, I think it was a dream, that he called his sister the next day and he's like, are you okay? Like, is everything okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm alive. And he was like, okay. And then she died 2 months later.
Yeah, I had that with my father.
Yeah. So what is that, you guys? What is that? How do we know the future? Like, so I'm just getting at the fact that it's good to be in community as we start to put together what this actually is, in fact, and how this all works. And I truly believe that we're about to step into a really cool renaissance where we're creating from our heart, quite frankly. Like, we're not doing the destructo, like whatever. We're not creating with pain. Our magic wand isn't dipped in blood or whatever, or like, revenge or whatever it is. It's like a little bit cleaner than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a cascading wave that happens around the planet. And it starts by, really, I think, tuning into what you have done, which is just say, I don't care. I'm going to tune in. And I have a feeling that we have these guides and these other beings that are right here that are hoping that we tune in because they want to help us tune in, and they want to help us do stuff.
Absolutely. They're right here. Like, I can see mine all the time, and then when there's too many of them, I'm like, okay, back off, a little bit. But they're literally about 3-4 feet up from us, and boom, when they come in, like, I have these 3 white beings here right now, very tall white beings. They're just white, and they're directly across from me. They're the ones I work with the most. They're probably about 8 to 10 feet at this massive lights, but they're hovering at this, like, what I call a different earth plane. And they're just right there. They're ready to work with you.
That's
So,
so cool.
yeah. But so, like, the same as in Egypt. Egypt's not what you see with the physical eyes is the Egypt that's considered dead. But if you have the eyes to see from here, you see the Egypt that's still going on, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and I think that in reality, there are different experiences that we can have.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's a gradual shift, but sometimes, like you said, like with this awakening, but other things can happen where all of a sudden you're living in the same Egypt hotel that you were in, but somehow it just suddenly got better. So it's like stair steps to heaven. It's literally like we're walking our way to this better version of our lives.
Mhm.
And it comes with raising your vibration, which means throw out all the backpacks and all the heaviness that you are and the complicatedness, because it's like Tim said, he's like, it's not, we overcomplicate this by a lot.
Yes,
Overcomplicate.
exactly. That is one of the things that my guides say all the time. They're like, humans make it so hard. Everything is so simple. If we would just get our ego out of the way, we'd be able to do things so much faster, bigger, better, expansive. And we do tend to trip over our own egos when we're in that lower vibration and stuck in the false identity created ego, the programmed ego. If we are aligned here, everything's easy. It flows. You're not swimming against the current anymore.
What we've got a question from Bethany, which I'm really excited. Bethany's one of our members. She's been working with Susan Schatzer, who's doing Talking to Past Loved Ones as a workshop. You do not have to be a member. It's $22 at the end of the month. So starseedacademy.org/calendar. But we're going to bring her in. But I want you to touch on this whole idea of ego.
Mhm.
So I think of ego as, I mean, and I think I'm influenced by what Steve was saying. It's like there's your little self and there's the big agenda. So your little agenda is like, oh, I want the car, I want to have the job, I want the this, and the big agenda, all those things like are smaller when the big agenda comes in. And
Mhm.
like you said, everything's provided. If you can get on the big agenda, whatever your big agenda is, it's all provided for you because they're happy you're on your agenda.
Mhm.
And I believe you get sick when you're not on your big agenda because your body and everything else is like, this isn't working. Like we're not feeling right because you're off course. And that's the only way to bang you in the head and say, wait a minute, get on course, like stop what you're doing. Like that's the only stop mechanism they have for us.
Yeah, so the way my guides have always, and I used to go on Facebook Live for years ago, all the time, like 3, 4 times a week. I just give this information from the beings so that the false identity created ego is the programmed ego that you're calling the small, I think you're calling it the small agenda. That's the material, okay? That's the one that's stuck in the programs, the behaviors, how you're programmed from as a child, but also how your parents were programmed, your grandparents were programmed, because it's all through the DNA and the cycles and the looping, okay? It's the looping of the events of the consciousness of the 3D existence that you are in. When you awaken and you align with your true self, okay, that's the divine authenticity, that's divine human, and you're becoming more divine human. And when you're aligning there and knowing why you're here and what your purpose is, okay, and your purpose is always to be here and just be love. That's your main purpose. And when you're that, you begin to, like when I do the DNA key code activations, I awaken people's abilities. That's one of the things I've been gifted, is to awaken and unlock the codes in them, to awaken their abilities, to help them with the purpose that they're here for. So everything just begins to unlock. It's like things are locked, okay? And so when that happens, what I see is we have two egos. We have the false created ego. That's how they've called it for me so that I understand it. And we have the divine mind, which is the pineal, which is the ego that's like, if there's a bus coming, you're in the middle of the road, that ego says, jump, okay? That's the aligned self, because that's your higher self going, get out of the way. It gives you those things. It doesn't take you into the fear factor. He came me, almost killed me, I'm gonna sue him. That's a false one. This one's like, woo, I got away just in time. Thank you, God. Deep gratitude, higher self. I'm still alive and here to continue to do the work I came here to do. There's such a difference in the reality, and gratitude is really important with every step of the way as well.
Cool. Speaking of gratitude, Bethany, can you unmute yourself? Susan Chestner is doing a gratitude course as well, that we have on our calendar, and if you sign up, she's a little bit into it, but you'll get all the archives. And she is a genius at helping us in that space. Bethany knows, right? Yeah. Susan, gratitude genius.
A genius, just amazing, amazing work there. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Wow. First and foremost, I have to say, your voice, your vibration is magical. I mean, when you started your light language, it absolutely sent a vibration all the way from the open of my head all the way to the bottom of my feet, and I could feel it, and it was very, very, very healing. So thank you so much for that. I have a few questions. My first question is, uh, you spoke
Can you
of
hold your phone as still as you can so we don't get
sure.
too.
Oh, sure. Well,
It's
will it
pretty good,
be
but yeah, if you could just hold, yeah, that's better. That's good.
okay?
Perfect.
All
Okay.
right. All right. Would it be? Are you going to have another Egypt trip coming up here soon, or that sounds interesting as all get out to me.
It's it's such a transformational trip when you go with Keleena because you do all kinds of, I do all kinds of healing and stuff. I am looking into possibility of doing another one possibly in the late fall. Um, because a lot of the stuff going on that part of the country, my guides are like, hold off, hold off, hold off. So if I do, it'll be announced through my newsletter and on my website and everything. But I do actually have a list of people that want to come to the next one. So after they
Yeah.
heard what happened, also there's little videos on my Instagram, if anyone has Instagram, of the things that happened in Egypt. You can go and watch the 1 minute videos. They'll give you an idea of some of the stuff. But
Okay.
yes, a possibility, a very big possibility this year.
Okay. All right. Great. And my second question is, when working with a client, do you see their guides and galactics and angelics, and past loved ones? Can you hear their voice?
Yeah. Yes. So when I'm doing a private session, a one-on-one session,
Hmm.
um, your guides come in, my guides come in, my higher self takes over, meets with your higher self.
Hmm.
Okay. Because this is how I know exactly what I have to do. I start getting all kinds of information. I'm also a psychic medium. So not always do people's family members come in, but when they do, it's like it shocks the people. I just
Yeah.
had someone that I just gave him all kind of information. I'm like, your mother's standing here. She's really little. She's like tiny. He's like, my mother was only 4'11". She was giving all this information that I would have never known. So yes, I have that connection. I will have connection to your guides. I have connection on how to find your trigger points. I will go into your subconscious to also see
Hmm.
and know things that have
Hmm.
happened in your life that have shut you down, that have blocked you, traumas and events. I get all
Hmm.
of that information. They don't
Okay.
limit me. Let's just put it that way. They don't limit me because my job is to take you through your transformation process to become who you are, removing the wounds, going through the healing to become the divine human you are in your authentic self and know your purpose.
Well, you're amazing, and thank you for being here this
Oh,
morning.
thank you.
Thank you, Bethany. I love what you just said, Keleena. It's like you were like, so you can be who you are.
Mhm.
Like, have you ever met those people who just are who they are? And they might be quirky or they might be something, or, they could be like working in the library or whatever they're doing, but they are authentic. There's
Mhm.
something about authenticity that's like a free permission slip for you also to be authentic. And I find it really attractive when people are like geeky, whether they're geeky about cooking cupcakes or whether they're geeky about technology like I am or whatever. It's just like, it shows that they got excited by life, and that they are following some part of that curiosity in them. It's really beautiful.
It's in their knowing. I was just at the grocery on the way home, and I was walking to the store, and when the light language, the languages of light just come in, they boom, they come in, and I let myself speak it Because I know in that moment, in that space and place, I'm either clearing something or there's someone in the vicinity that has asked for activation from me. My higher self said, do not hide it. So I'm walking through the aisle and the language of light just coming out. And it's a beautiful one. I'm just speaking it. And I'm coming, and all of a sudden, this mother comes around the corner with her daughter, and I'm approaching them. And the daughter was like, and she was listening. I could tell she could feel it because I could feel her vibration shifting, and she just started getting this smile on her face. And the mother was like, like she had the face like, what is that? But the daughter remembers, and that's what this does. It helps you to remember. And so I could see that she was remembering her authenticity. She was picking this up, but the mother was still in her fear, because you can't take a 3D person into the 5D like that, right? So this little girl had more fifth dimensional consciousness in her, she was able to grasp onto this information of the codes, the sacred geometry codes coming in, and feel it in her body. And I saw her aura just going like this, expanding. So I knew it was happening. I saw the mother going, so I know that little girl's going to change her family.
Yeah, that's so cool. I was telling you before we started, I had such a crazy experience with Cynthia Clark, who's a palm reader here in Sedona. And she was like, it was just fascinating because she told me, she's like, oh, you're here in service. That's part of the markings. And she's like, there's 20% of the people that are alive today are here in service. And then there's like 3% that are these like weird super wisdom keepers. And there's like 2% that are peace keepers. And then the rest, the 75 other percent, are here to experience emotions and learn love. So there's a lot of you listening today because you're already in these communities that are probably here in service. So your life outside of Earth, outside of this human Earth life you're having right now, is a lot different, right? It has these multiple dimensions, these other realities, right? These other ways of doing the things, these other knowings, these other like vibration, working with vibration, all these different things that we have been used to. And we came in, like you said, everything drops, you know what I mean? The veil drops. You don't keep your kids awake or whatever they say, whatever. So, but that's interesting. So you guys are probably starting to remember some of these ways of being that we're bringing people toward as we evolve. Because we were realizing today, I had lunch with, or breakfast with Marion Ross, who's one of our donors, and she's incredible and very wise, incredible. And she's like, well, actually, our purpose is to evolve. I was like, yeah, that was like the closing line of my interview, because I was like, actually, it is to follow your heart and to feel joy and to feel home and to feel love. But the other thing is that you get to climb your own mountain and evolve, because we all came with lessons or things that we're trying to shift. And that is really it's like the beauty of your joy and climbing them, like doing the thing you really love doing, is what gets you through the discomfort of your own evolution. And I was running from my own evolution my entire life, and I'm still running from it. Provide. I mean, North Node is like providing for yourself, and even on this, like on the palm reading, it's like, I'm here to. My life lesson is being worthy of love, and I started bawling in the session. I was like, I don't even know why I'm crying. Like, wow, obviously there's still healing to do. So it's like, I just want to encourage everybody that's listening to have the courage to face the things that you want to run away from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in order to evolve, we have to heal.
And we have to stop running away. for the stuff that's hard.
Yeah. And people will run away. This is what I found with my clients. The ones that do run away are the ones that they're denying themselves of their true identity.
Huh.
Okay. When they do that. So they run away because the level of discomfort is bigger if they really tune into doing the unwinding of who they think they are. It's more comfortable for them in that moment to be held in that captive space and place of what they know. Does that make sense? So that which they've been programmed to be right now, it's more comfortable for them to be there because that's what they know. That's where I'm going to make my money. That's where, if I have to pay my bills, I have to do this. It's going to provide my food, and I don't want to look into that because if that happens, what if I lose this? It's all stuck in there in between the space and place of the ego and getting aligned. So they jump back and forth, and they go into that looping. They want to be here as the awakened person. I have so many people going, I want to be just like you, Keleena. And I'm always like, you'll never be just like me because I'm me. You're you. And no two persons have the same experiences in any life. And so as we unwind ourselves, as we become who we truly are, everyone's still different. And so they get uncomfortable. It triggers them when I say that. It triggers people. But that's part of my job as a catalyst. And I don't do it on purpose. It catalyzes people. I'm going to go, you're never going to be like me. Because all my experiences led me to here with all of the abilities, everything that I do, and the accumulation of who I am now is my soul's journey. You have your own soul's journey, so you're going to do exactly what aligns for you and what you've aligned in all those lifetimes. And it catalyzes people. What they do, they start to run back to that safe spot. And that safe spot's not going to allow them to evolve. So then I have to work them out of that safe spot because we have to go in and find what's triggering them to be there. What's triggering their unworthiness, right? Unworthiness is huge. What is triggering their judgment towards themselves? Judgment is huge. And all this stuff, what I see comes from, a lot of it comes from childhood and the growing up and these programs and patterns that are held within the subconscious and the unconscious, but also in the DNA and the cell memories that come back online when you plug back into Earth and you're born here. Got to heal it all. We have to reveal it to heal it.
Yeah, that's interesting. So as we close, I'm gonna, highlight what you were just saying about, people want to be like you, but it's not really their thing. Like, this is an inside job, you guys. No one is going to tell you what your purpose is.
It's going to unfold.
Your responsibility. And as she said, you're not going to be here forever. I mean, when you said that, it was like, we're not going to be here forever. So don't miss your fireworks of your life.
Yeah.
And your fireworks comes with courage, and it comes from silence, and it comes from I have this little steering wheel that I have in front of my computer at all times because it's the reminder that, you're driving your own car. Each one of us are driving. And we're just not going to get there. You can't get there with someone telling you. So it's this weird thing that you have to do alone. And we want to accompany you in that path because it's a lot funner to do together, and you'll see all these reflections. I want to show you guys, so much is going on right now. I talked about the Awaken Your Dragon starting in a month. We also have season 7 starting in 2 months. And we are bringing back Alan to do the off-planet remote viewing, and this is like super fascinating. Every team he's done gets more and more mind-blowing. We're also bringing back Jessalyn Desmond for rapid intuition. So talk about being able to navigate quickly and well in your life. This is a tool set. It's cool. I'm getting ringing in the ears. which I've been asking for my clairaudience to come in, so it's already starting. We're also, Coffee's doing Starseed channel art. So today we received this package of, she had supported a tarot card artist, in the GoFundMe or whatever it is, where you pay, Kickstarter or whatever, you pay and then it finally comes. And it was just like so cool. And she's an incredible artist, and she helps people open to that creative part of ourselves, that non-logical part that helps you get closer to the things that are wanting to come in. So this is going to be super fun. I'm actually going to take this course. I highly recommend it. We're going to get creative. And then Adam is going to be doing Waking Lucid Living again. And we've had so many crazy miracles happen by playing with a lucid living and this idea of the lucid dreaming state. And it's really your way to jack into your subconscious mind in a very powerful way. And again, all of these are done in groups of 8 to 12. So these are very, very small containers of 8 weeks. This is going to be limited to 100 people. So this is going to be 100 people, and then we're going to break everybody into groups of 8 for the embodiment part. So you have partners by your side that are saying, let's go this way. What are you manifesting? What's your purpose is? How are you doing that? So once again, Keleena is going to be joining us again on the 28th. And we also have Susan teaching you how to get this, this communication with people on the other side. This is there. We also have Britt Elders is going to be talking about her research into UFOs on the 19th. And for all of you that are thinking, watching on one of the simulcasts and haven't spent time with LightNet Community and Starseed Academy, come to our free connection call. This is a chance where we have high synchronicities. We get into groups of 3. You never know who you're going to end up spending time with. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. So you're not alone, you guys. We're right here with you. I also want to highlight once again, Keleena's site, KeleenaMalnar.com. So she's got an event coming up. Tell us about that this weekend that you have. And tell us how to get involved, how to get on your mailing list and everything. And thank you so much for like opening yourself to source tonight, like showing up in such a huge way for us. And we're truly grateful to everyone you've touched with this broadcast.
And thank you for allowing me to be here. So my website, it's on the bottom there, it's KeleenaMalnar.com, but this weekend is a webinar that I'm conducting with my divine sister, Shakina Rose. And it's about the new divine feminine Christ consciousness that I've been getting downloads about since February. And the Holy Spirit has been activating in my cells and giving me these codes for what's happening on the 19th, which is normally used to be called the Pentecost. They still call it the Pentecost, I believe. And the next day was always the crowning of Mother Mary. So what I was shown is that this was about the disciples and the men on this day always honored, and Mother Mary was pushed aside. And what it's just a representation of is the masculine and the feminine. So Spirit showed me we need to bring these two together on the same day to bring in this new feminine Christ consciousness. It's like a higher expanded Christ consciousness that is to be activated in all women and men. And so I received the codes of this. I received the codes and bring these activations in through the DNA at your cell level. And what it's going to do is it's going to activate that higher Christ consciousness, and it's going to be called the New World Day of Light from that day forward. So every year, if you're out on the earth and you're doing what, you're going to get codes every year on that same day to be able to expand that Christ consciousness within yourself in a balanced state, in a harmonic balance. And so I work a lot with the Holy Spirit and the Divine Feminine, a lot of the feminine archetypes, Isis, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, all of them, but they come in as one big energy ball, one big white light energy ball, and become like a dove. And so they're showing me that this has to be done for this next level of the divine feminine on the planet that needs to be elevated. And not just elevated through consciousness, but elevated within ourself, in the physical body, in the mental body, in the emotional body, in the astral, in all bodies. And it's going to expand the quantum field and expanding the consciousness of the planet as you're expanding, because it's going into that crystalline grid when you're receiving it. So that's this weekend. It's $44. It's like a 2-hour webinar. And yeah, that's what I'm doing this weekend.
Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, and it's like when you talk about receiving these codes and getting these activations, it's like it is like a remembering, but it's also like being exposed to a new idea, a new thought, because we're so, like I said, we're so kind of caged in by our beliefs and reality and what it is and what are the edges, and these kinds of experiences open that up into our curiosity. And that's really what we're learning right now, you guys. If you didn't get it, we're moving away from duality because we're crossing the line. The females are learning about masculinity. The masculinity is learning about the feminine, because that's what we have to do in order to get to the next level and get out of our duality, is to become one. And to become one, you got to understand all the people at the table.
Yeah,
Especially the opposite sex. I mean, that's like the baseline. That's what I think I've been learning this last year, is like to truly come, and I've been helping that, but like truly start to have a very better communication and connection and feeling of safety and feeling of trust and feeling of just like communion, of understanding, of compassion, like you said, of kindness. Because if we can't be kind to ourselves first and to the opposite sex, that just ripples out everywhere. So it's like master the double Lego. We can master the triple Lego.
But also being kind to the same gender, because so many of them are in competition. It's just crazy. It's like, we're not supposed to be in competition with anyone. We're here for equality and a harmonic balance. And it comes through these spheres, these musical spheres of light that are all about light, sound, vibration, frequency. And that's what we are. We are that. And we're supposed to be emanating that.
Yeah. And thank you so much. Thank you for putting us in some of those states where the harmonics seem to balance themselves for a moment. And we get those downloads. So tonight, you guys, I leave you with this idea that try to ask your heart to let you know some things, like a dinner date. You're having a dinner date with someone you don't get to talk to that often. What your mind thinks, it's what society thinks, probably, but what is your heart saying? What is your heart telling you? Ask your heart, ask yourself, because according to Keleena, that is where the key is. And I think she's right. So let's get curious about that and see where that takes us. And yeah, so we'll see you guys on Sunday night for our next Unlimited show with Britt Elders. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you guys there. And then we'll be off to Spain, and we'll be entering a very new chapter at LightNet. You guys will be letting you know more about what's going on. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you, Keleena, for sharing your gifts with us.
Thank you for having me.
Cool. Love to everybody.